The great Euphrates River has taken center stage for scientific exploration and modern discoveries for thousands of years, as it holds great significance and relevance in history. However, something strange has just happened that has sent shockwaves to the scientific community and the world at large. The waters have dried up, and the great Euphrates is nowhere to be found. Scientists have discovered a breathtaking treasure trove of historical artifacts underneath the river's ancient bed, triggering uproar in the scientific community. So, what could be lurking under the dried beds? And what happened to Euphrates? Let's get to it. It's quite difficult to believe that the river flowing on Earth for thousands of years is suddenly drying up. Undoubtedly, this river was nothing short of a mighty water force running through and serving numerous nations. The river remains a key player in the development of human societies and has long supported ancient civilization. One of the civilizations that once blossomed with great support from this river is that of the Sumerians. This is one of the world's earliest known civilizations that settled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in the southern region of Mesopotamia. Imagine a river so vital that the contours of its flow dictated the rise of cities like Babylon. Yet, as times passed, this majestic river saw its course altered, its power taken as dams emerged, confining the Euphrates and silencing its uproar. Before we dive into the groundbreaking discovery that has emerged, challenging our understanding of this historical narrative, let us see the historical background of the river Euphrates. The Tigris-Euphrates river system, the great river system of southwestern Asia, comprises the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which follow roughly parallel courses through the heart of the Middle East. From Turkey, where it springs to life meandering through Syria and then surrendering its essence to the Persian Gulf in Iraq, the Euphrates spans an impressive 1,740 miles. The lower portion of the region that they define, known as Mesopotamia, was one of the cradles of civilization. The rivers have several small tributaries which feed into shallow freshwater lakes, swamps, and marshes, all surrounded by desert. The hydrology of these vast marshes is extremely important to the ecology of the entire Upper Persian Gulf in the cradle of civilization area due to its ancient history. The Euphrates River has numerous mentions in the Judeo-Christian Bible as well as in the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad. The Euphrates is the largest river in Southwest Asia. It is formed by the confluence of two branches, the Karasu River, which rises in the Armenian highlands of today's eastern Turkey north of Erzurum, and the Murat River, which issues from an area southwest of Mount Ararat, north of Lake Van. It descends between major ranges of the Taurus Mountains. Though less than 30% of its drainage basin is in Turkey, it receives approximately 94% of its water within the Turkish highlands. The river's valley was heavily irrigated in ancient times, and many great cities rose on its banks. The ruins of some of these communities remain. The general climate of the river area is subtropical, hot, and arid. At the northern end of the Persian Gulf is the vast floodplain of the Euphrates, Tigris, and Karun rivers, featuring huge permanent lakes, marshes, and forests. The aquatic vegetation includes reeds, rushes, and papyrus, which supports numerous species. Areas around the Tigris and the Euphrates are very fertile. Marshy land is home to water birds, some stopping there while migrating, and some spending the winter in these marshes, living off the lizards, snakes, frogs, and fish. Other animals found in these marshes are water buffalo, two endemic rodent species, antelopes and gazelles, and small animals such as the jerboa and several other mammals. For centuries, communities have relied on the marshes, finding sustenance and livelihoods within the rich resources provided by this unique ecosystem. The success of these ancient agricultural settlements allowed for the growth of the first cities near the beginning of the 4th millennium BCE. Since its earliest settlements, the Euphrates has been a critical asset in the region. However, according to a study by the University of Arizona, the river's flow has decreased by more than 60% over the past century due to dams and irrigation projects in Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. There's also been an unknown factor that has caused it to increase that no one can explain. This decrease in flow has significantly impacted the region, causing water shortages and affecting the livelihoods of those who depend on the river for agriculture and fishing. The river has remained important throughout history, physically, politically, and religiously. Talking about religious importance, did you know that the Euphrates River is mentioned in the Bible and Quran and has some captivating prophecies associated with it? So what is said in the holy books, and how does it affect the world? Let's take a look at its significance in the Bible. The Euphrates River is described as one of the 4 rivers flowing from the legendary Garden of Eden. It serves both geographical and symbolic roles in the biblical and non-canonical texts. In the biblical text, it is first mentioned as one of 4 rivers that comes forth from the Garden of Eden, Gen 2:14, and appears elsewhere in the Hebrew Bible, non-canonical literature, and the Christian Testament. Significantly, the Euphrates is often seen as a geographic marker in the Hebrew Bible that delineates belongings and exclusion. For example, in Genesis chapter 15, verse 18, God makes a covenantal promise of land with Abraham, mapped out with the river Euphrates as its eastern border. This boundary is reiterated in subsequent references, for example, Josh 1:4. For Solomon, the Euphrates is not just the promised border, but the actual geopolitical boundary of his kingdom as seen in 1 Kings 4:21-24. After the Babylonian exile, the Euphrates is used as a literary border to indicate the separation of the exiles from their homeland. In the biblical material, the Euphrates is sometimes called the river. In addition to a geographic boundary, the Euphrates can serve a symbolic purpose in ancient texts. For example, in Isaiah 27, God promises that in the future, Israel will be gathered from the Euphrates to the Wadi of Egypt. Israel here means those Israelites lost in Egypt and the tribes dispersed by the 8th century BCE Assyrian invasion. In this example, the Euphrates functions as both a geographic boundary and as a temporal marker, that is, as a way to reach back in time and reclaim the lost Israelites. Also, Ezekiel 40:48 offers an idealized remapping of ancient Israel, using natural features of the land like the Euphrates, but reimagining them collectively into a future utopian ideal. Just as the Euphrates serves as a temporal marker in the prophetic literature, the river also serves as a boundary in time. In John's Apocalypse, 4 angels are bound in the Euphrates, and they will be released when the end is near. According to Revelation chapter 16, verse 12, another angel will dry up the river so the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. The water is also stopped in Ezra 13.39-47, when, at the eschaton, the lost tribes of Israel who are hidden beyond the Euphrates will return to the land of Israel. So what's the prophecy? Consequently, the Bible predicts that the Euphrates River will dry up in the last days to prepare the way for the kings of the east to pass through. The river is a massive land barrier hindering any army from advancing east to west. At more than 1,800 miles long and an average of 300 yards wide, the Euphrates River has been a substantial source of life in the region. The Bible doesn't say who the kings of the east are, and biblical scholars and theologians have different ideas about who they are. One popular interpretation is that the kings of the East refer to the rise of China and other Asian nations as powerful political and economic entities. So, are we in the last days? Moving forward, John gives an intriguing prediction in Revelation chapter 19, verse 18, that these kings of the East will boast a standing army of 200 million. This is said to be a bold prophecy, especially when you consider that at the time he was writing, there weren't 200 million people on the planet. However, today, China has more than 200 million army, just as the Bible predicted. Worthy of note is that whatever the kings of the East are, they are seen as a formidable force in the end times and will be part of the final battles that will take place before the return of Jesus. Either way, this massive army must cross the Euphrates to the Valley of Armageddon for the final battle between good and evil. It is believed that the drying up of the Euphrates River is a clear fulfillment of Bible prophecy and a sign that the end of the age is near, as stated in Matthew 24:44. Also, the river Euphrates holds special significance in Islamic beliefs and teachings about the future. Islamic scriptures such as the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad cited the Euphrates River several times. Interestingly, the Islamic prophecies depict the river Euphrates as the site of major battles, especially a significant conflict known as the Battle of Dabiq. This war is a sign of the end times, as foretold by the Prophet Muhammad. More interestingly, Islamic teachings speak of a mountain of pure gold within the depths of the Euphrates. It even gets more intriguing as many believe that one day, this mountain will be revealed, indicating clearly that the end times are approaching. However, the Islamic prophet, the Prophet Muhammad, warned that when this mountain is revealed, people will be consumed by greed and materialism because of the treasures it inhibits. He asserted that out of every 100 individuals, only one could resist the temptation brought by this fascinating discovery. To test the authenticity of this prophecy, you will find it included in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, which are highly respected collections of the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad. The river Euphrates holds great significance and relevance both in history and present. Recently, scientists have made shocking discoveries and revealed hidden secrets buried in the dried riverbed. But what are these hidden secrets in the dried Euphrates? As the river's waters have receded, archaeologists have discovered previously unknown temples and unusual artifacts in the riverbed. Some discoveries include a 3,400-year-old city, an ancient fortress, and scary caves. A whole new world has been discovered in Anbar in Iraq, turning out to be one of the most significant archaeological sites in the country. The dried river has offered an unprecedented opportunity for researchers to study the region's rich history. Let's look at some of the findings. The Euphrates River dried up and revealed an ancient city hidden for centuries. The astounding discovery of the ancient Mesopotamian city of Gilgamesh and the lost tomb of Gilgamesh, unearthed after the Euphrates River fully dried up, has astonished the entire globe in recent years. This finding led to the city's location. This incredible find at an archaeological site has not only cast fresh light on one of the most intriguing and strange people in the annals of human history. Still, it has also prompted tremendous interest and debate among academics, historians, and members of the general public alike. Archaeologists in Iraq reportedly believe they may have discovered the lost tomb of Gilgamesh, ruler of the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk, and the subject of the oldest recorded story. The story of the Epic of Gilgamesh was recorded on Sumerian clay tablets in the 3rd millennium BC. The story commemorated the life of the ruler of Uruk at that time. Around the middle of the 27th century BC, Uruk was one of the most powerful of the region's ancient cities and one of its longest lasting. Modern Iraq may have gained its name from this city, although that claim is disputed. It might interest you that a German-led expedition reported that it had discovered what was thought to be the entire city of Uruk, including the last resting place of its famous king, where the waters of the Euphrates would have surrounded it before the river changed its course. In the story, which is recorded on a set of inscribed clay tablets, Gilgamesh is described as having been buried under the Euphrates in a tomb constructed when the waters of the ancient river parted following his death. Let's continue. Near the Euphrates River, there is a belief that angels are bound and will one day be released during the Great Tribulation. More recently, intriguing caves have been discovered as the waters dried up. Within one of these caves, a strange humanoid entity was found. The Bible describes the release of 4 angels who are bound at the Euphrates River and the aftermath of their release, the slaying of a 1/3 of mankind by 200 million horsemen. It is said that the angels released from the Euphrates River are probably fallen angels because they have been bound there. Since no one has seen the angels, speculations have varied regarding whether they are there. What's more, a treasure trove of cuneiform tablets has been unearthed as the Euphrates waters have retreated. These ancient clay tablets, inscribed with the world's earliest known writing system, have offered scholars a wealth of information about the region's political, economic, and cultural history. Cuneiform writing recorded information, such as temple activities, business, and trade. Cuneiform was also used to write stories, myths, and personal letters, one of the oldest forms of writing known. It means wedge-shaped, because people wrote it using a reed stylus cut to make a wedge-shaped mark on a clay tablet. Letters enclosed in clay envelopes and works of literature, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, have been found. According to reports, the cuneiform tablets have been dated to 1800 BCE. 3,800 years ago. This was the era of Hammurabi, the Babylonian king known for the Code of Hammurabi, the most comprehensive codex of laws in the ancient East, which scholars liken to the laws of the Torah. The text on the tablets resembles a language manual divided into two parts. On the first are words and phrases in the Amorite Canaanite language, an extinct ancient language of which scholars had little knowledge. The second contains their translation into Akkadian, a known language that can be read and translated. Let's look at an iconic discovery that left many in awe when it was revealed as the waters dried up. Archaeologists have discovered previously unknown temples and palaces as the river's waters have receded. These structures have, however, provided insight into the religious and political life of the ancient civilizations that once thrived along the Euphrates River. A team of Iraqi and British archaeologists recently discovered the ruins of a lost palace belonging to Sumerian kings from the ancient Girsu, now modern-day Tello, Iraq. During a press conference, the British Museum director Hartwig Fisher said that the dig site called Tablet Hill was described as the cradle of civilization. This important heritage site is believed to hold keys to new information about one of the earliest known civilizations. The ruins belong to Sumerians, an ancient people that occupied Sumer, located in the southern region of Mesopotamia. They established many city-states, and their culture is thought to have thrived there until around 1700 BC, when the Babylonians took control of the region during the reign of Hammurabi, the last Sumerian king. More interestingly, there is a strong historical connection between the Bible and the Sumerians. They were the builders of the city-state of Ur, a major trading hub by the Persian Gulf, and possibly the original home of the first Hebrew patriarch Abraham. The other proposed location for Abraham's birthplace is Urfa in Turkey. The Sumerians farmed the fertile land by the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, two of four rivers mentioned in the Bible that flowed from the Garden of Eden. These rivers still have a common source, in the mountains of Turkey, from which they flow through modern-day Syria and Iraq. It might interest you to know that myths and stories about the Euphrates River are connected to modern-day findings. Let me tell you one. The Sumerian paradise was east of the sources of the world's four rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Enki was the god of water and wisdom, construction and art in this mythology. He gave water to the rivers, fishes and reeds to the marshes, and created the herds. He protected nature by warning about the deluge decreed by the other gods, and worried about the proliferation and noise of human beings. In the original language, Sumer meant the land of the lord of the cane fields, and Enki was represented as a human figure pouring water from a jug. How mythical! I bet you didn't know that. What do you think about the discoveries in the bed of the dried river Euphrates? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share this mystery with friends, and subscribe for more.